Today on 10, live from our City Avenue studios.
Next on 10, the author of Girl Most Likely To tells us why her new book is being described as Bend It Like Beckham meets Sex in the City. Plus, Rachel Schwartz from GoFilla.com will explain why it's so easy being green this St. Patrick's Day.
Welcome back. Well, our next guest went from writing books about business to writing books about sex, single life, and the successful working woman.
Yeah, Poonam Sharma is the author of Girl Most Likely To. The third book for this Philadelphia area author tells the story of an Indian American woman caught in the middle of her conservative family traditions and life as a swinging single in New York City.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Poonam Sharma. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this is your third book, but your first novel.
Yes. I was working my way up.
Okay.
You know, business books are a lot less personal. Writing about entrepreneurship is one thing. Writing about your innermost thoughts.
Now, but not all business people decide, hey, I can write a book. Did you always love to write?
I've been writing since I was, you know, a teenager for whatever school newspapers. I actually used to write like a high school column called Pooh's Views.
Oh, I love that.
Along the lines of an advice column kind of thing. Never really thought I would write a novel. I think it was a dream in the back of my mind. I sat down after going through a very rough period in my own life in my mid-20s and just started writing my thoughts. It was almost like an internal journal. And it went through 7 or 8 incarnations and turned out to be a novel that the character is not me, but she's got my attitude.
Very similar. Yeah. Now you actually went to Harvard, got your degree from Harvard, and that's where your first book came from. The book was what was the first book?
The Harvard Entrepreneurs Club Guide to Starting Your Own Business.
Right. Do you have one of those for me? Because
I can get you one.
Start my
I can
own
get
business.
you one.
Yeah, that would be great. But this book now completely different. Now, was this something that was more fun for you? Because obviously the first book, probably a lot of research going into that of stuff maybe that you didn't know. But this one, you've got a little bit of experience in this genre, so to speak.
Well, it was definitely more fun to write,
Yeah.
but you know, it's funny because one of my best friends said recently, the book came out last week, it's in bookstores as of March 1st, and she said, what's the best thing about it? I said, the best thing about it is people all over the world will be reading my thoughts. The worst thing about it is people all over the world will be reading my thoughts. I mean, it's a lot of fun to write, but once you put it out there,
You're vulnerable.
You're very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because every first novel is at least semi-autobiographical, even though the character is not me. I lived in New York, worked in finance, and have a somewhat conservative Indian family. I dated all the nationalities just like every other young woman in Manhattan does, but I'm not claustrophobic. I was not an investment banker. I was never involved in an insider trading scandal, which is what she goes through.
Yeah.
So.
And it's interesting because it is compared to Bend It Like Beckham meets Sex in the City.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, as you're reading the book, you're learning about
Veena
Chopra and her friends. And so you really do become kind of the Sex in the City club of women.
Yeah.
And I love that about it.
Well, thank you. I was, you know, in the genre of chick lit, which is what this falls into.
Chick lit, can you explain? I am totally
literature for chicks.
Yeah.
It's girl books.
I didn't know that. Hence I didn't know.
Gotta ask your wife about it.
Chick lit. Okay.
Chick lit,
Gotcha.
yeah, as opposed to lad lit, which is for young men. Within the genre, there weren't a lot of novels that have the main character as a professional woman. A lot of the time they are doing other things, very interesting things with their lives, but there's a whole other aspect of living and dating and loving that comes as a result of having a career that takes 80 hours of your week.
Yes.
So.
And how is it being, you mentioned the conservative parents, how is it for that, the culture here, obviously much different than it is back in India, and you'd mentioned the conservatism. You're able to date who you want, but yet they always want you to marry another Indian?
The general consensus in the community for first-generation born and raised Indians is obviously our parents would prefer us to marry someone just because it makes life easier. If you're a nice Jewish girl from Long Island, your parents want you to marry a nice Jewish guy. Not because there's anything wrong with anyone else, but to make life easier. My parents believe the same thing. I think experience has shown them chances are it's just going to be wherever lightning hits, you know, that kind of thing. But I do want to make the point that this book is definitely not intended just for Indians.
Yeah, sure.
Didn't write it just for Indians, just for women, just for investment bankers, just for New Yorkers. One of the satisfying things has been that I've been getting some reader feedback on my website. I've gotten emails from men. I've gotten emails from
Now, are these men trying to
stay-at-home
date
moms.
you, Poonam?
Well, those are the ones I don't respond to.
I gotcha.
The really scary
You
ones.
gotta be selective.
I'll reply to everybody unless they creep me out. You know. So.
Now, are your real girlfriends portrayed in the book?
There's a piece of pretty much all my good girlfriends' personalities in there, but there is no one character that is one person. Certainly not. Certainly not.
Okay.
But a lot of the experiences, the girlfriends who've known me since we were in high school, they're reading it, they'll call me, and they'll say, oh my God, I remember when this, did that really happen? And I'll say, well, this aspect of it is what you remember, but that aspect of it is not me. Remember, it's a book.
And so we talked about this. You did write it cinematically. So you're hoping maybe to get a movie deal?
I am praying for a movie deal.
Would you like to look in the camera, and this camera right here, if you'd like to talk to anybody about that?
Well, my agent is more than happy to entertain offers to sell movie rights. Bend It Like Beckham meets Sex of the City, and with the current popularity of The Namesake, we're hoping that other movie companies would like to see it.
Yeah, I love that. And
There
it
you
was
go.
a great title, The Girl Most Likely To.
Thank you.
I like
Thank you.
that.
Leave something open for interpretation at the end.
Yeah, at least likely to what? ...
Succeed, fail miserably, learn a lot about herself.
It's all there.
We're going to go ahead and fill it with Succeed. Congratulations
Thank
on the
you.
book. Poonam Sharma, The Girl Most Likely To. It's available in bookstores now.
Thank you.
We're back with more 10 right after this.